Hello and welcome to the third episode of the RoundUp. We would like to remind you to keep it classy as we would like this to be viewable for everyone.
Welcome to the third episode of the RoundUp. I'm your host, Zachary Rennie Rector, here today with Max Shulman, talking Macaulay basketball, UTC basketball, and whatever comes up next. Max, good season, ended up making the semifinals. Just give a recap of that game and just how it went.
Yeah, it was a tough game for us. We sort of had a tough draw with having to play the defending champions. Brooklyn Academy, they're really good. They got really good guards. One with Indiana, Louisville, all these offers, number 16 in the country. And then they got another really good guard who's got offered from Belmont, I think. Yeah, so they're really good, really tough game. They're really hard to play against, just the way they play defense. They're all in the passing lanes, so it's hard to get good shots off.
And Brentwood would go on to win the championship. They would go on to beat Innsworth, correct?
Yeah, they won by 33 points. So it was a crazy game. I think it was crazy.
All right, so we talked recap of semifinals. Let's talk about just how the season progressed. We started off pretty good. Won best of preps. Just talk about that a little bit.
It was the first time we played in the best of preps in this new era. So, that was a good point of our season. And really, our main goal going into the season was just to make it to the Final Four, make it to Lipscomb. And we did that. Because when you get there, you sort of get that feeling of like how it's going to go. Like you have to get back there. So as soon as we got there in the first place, it was a big point. So it was a good season. We ain't gonna find it next year though.
What about the Oak Hill game and just Dr. Pepper Classic? Big turnout here at Macaulay. How would you describe that event and just how you were able to play against some future NBA guys?
That was a great experience. It was nice for Chattanooga because sometimes the city doesn't see all that there is. Like sometimes we just think that we're a great basketball city, but it's really we're not. Like bringing in Oak Hill and having Hampton Heights play against them in Central, it was a great experience. It was fun to play against. You got some future pros out there. You got some guys you'll see next March in the NCAA tournament. So it was good for the city, good for us too.
Went 1-1 in a classic that had two top 25 teams. So that's good. What about the future of the program? Had I think 4 seniors, but was a more sophomore and junior-driven team. How would you describe the future of the program, and how are you going to be able to beat Brentwood coming up?
Yeah, we lose some key contributors. Adrian, Javon, we got Tons and Chavis leave it too, but we have a lot of juniors and a lot of sophomores that really contribute. So we're really confident. We got some guys coming in next year, just like guys like Shannon Walker and Jay Gibson that bring some competitiveness that we were lacking this year, in my opinion. So I'm really liking the way that we're looking. So we just got to take a step farther next year.
What was your favorite game of the season? Maybe what you would call the highlight, your favorite game?
I would say the NUS game. We had to play at NUS for the state quarterfinals. Because it was just one of those games that just not for the team, but just for the whole program and the state of the program in general. But we had to win. So we can't. We down 13 early in the first half, and it was just coming back from 13 and making some huge defensive plays it was just a great win for us in general. We got where we needed to go.
And a great win as well against Innsworth, who would be the runners-up. Beat them by 18 here at that home court.
That was a good win too.
Great win. Let's flip it over to Harrison. I think he has a good question that he would like to ask Max.
What was it like playing under your father? Was it you like it?
It was a different experience. I've done it before, but not in a basketball setting.
Wait, when did you do it before?
It was a baseball, actually. He knows nothing about baseball. But, it was like you sort of know what he does and what he likes and just how he likes things done. So it was an interesting experience, but I'm sort of more prepared for it next year. So.
What's your prediction for next season?
I feel we can go on and win a state championship because what we got coming in, and we got a lot of young talent that needs another year to grow. So Brentwood's going to be incredible again next year, but I feel like next year we can do it. We can win.
Well, we talked to lacrosse yesterday. They said their keys for this year's success to repeat is chemistry. What would you say 2016-17 basketball teams' key to success are?
I would just say staying focused. Just keep your head down, working hard. Because there was times this year where I think we lost focus and we thought we were better than we were. But now I feel like we can sort of just sort of dumb it down and make sure that we just work harder.
All right.
Stay more consistent in general.
We kind of got on your father a little bit. He was a former coach, led UTC to 2 NCAA tournaments. Talking a little about how the future of that program, and now that they just went back to they just won a SoCon championship and will be returning to the Big Dance.
Yeah, it's big. It's big for the program. It's the first time since 2009 they've done it. They got some really good talent. Like I love Greg Pryor. He's a really competitive point guard. Not great offensively. Not a huge skill guy, but just he's a winner. And I mean, you got guys like Tuyo in there and Trey McClain, who are just really, really good players and really just warriors in there.
What have you seen from Matt McCall that makes you think that he might be landing a bigger job someday?
I mean, let's see, like in the NCAA, they love their young coaches now. So I mean, I'm not sure. He's
34.
34. So yeah, just turned 34. So I mean, taking a team who was on there, some guys on their third head coach, sort of bringing them together. It's a difficult job. So he did really well. Lost their best player going in the year, Casey Jones, and the next day went and beat Dayton, which is a very quality win. So I think he's done a really good job.
We have a good question from the audience from Jared Rector. It says, what's it like playing with 18 players on the team?
Oh, that's a good question. Going back, yeah. It's different. I feel like sometimes it's just like you sort of have to, if you want to play in the game, you just got to play your game in the middle. So if you just contribute, you'll know you'll be out there. So, I mean, it was more down to like, in the end of the year, it's more down to like 9, 10. But yeah, going like middle of the year, it's so hard to get the rhythm going. But when you get used to it, it's pretty easy, I think.
Is the 5 in, 5 out something that you think we will continue to see next year, or will we go to what we did more at the end of the season, 9 to 10 players?
I would say it's more like the beginning of the season against the lesser opponents we play in the beginning. I think it's more of a 5 in, 5 out, just because the way we do it is just like give everyone an opportunity. But then it just sort of just goes down, and we sometimes have to just short rotation to get the win sometimes.
Question from Clayton Hughes. How good is Jordan Bone really?
Jordan Bone, he's a special talent. I think he's the best player. I think it's either him or Darius Garland, but just the way that he can control a ball, really explosive. I think he'll make a huge impact at Tennessee next year.
UTC, right now they got bracketology. They got them around 12, 13, 14, playing against maybe Indiana. Could you see them going any farther than the first round? That's a tough game, but we've seen Dayton go pretty far in the tournament. Could you see them going?
I mean, I could see it. Indiana would be a really tough draw. They're really coming on, and they just won the Big Ten by 2 whole games. So it'd be a tough game. But for them, I mean, they can really defend. Sitting out foul trouble will be really key, because when Tia ever comes out, they sort of lose that presence around the basket. But it's all about scoring. Just find that guard that can put the ball in the basket. If they can find that, then they have a chance. But sometimes they're lacking that go-to punch, I think.
We're going to ask all our guests from now to the end of March Madness who their pick is. Now that the tournament hasn't came out, the bracket hasn't came out, but if you were to pick the team that you could see win the championship, who would it be?
Oh, it's tough, because I feel like this year there's not that one team. Like
a lot of parity.
Yeah, I mean, like last year Kentucky was that one team that everyone thought, okay, they're going to win it. They're better than everyone else. But this year there's a lot of different teams, like Oklahoma, Kansas. Only thing about Kansas, their guards, they're really good guards, but I'm not sure they have that it.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Memphis?
Thoughts on Memphis? It'll be tough for them to get the tournament. I think they have to win their conference, which is a decent conference. But it's a decent conference, but I feel like it's going to be tough to decide, and there's going to be a lot of upsets in March Madness this year.
So give me a team, though. Give me a team. You got one team to pick. You're putting your money on it. Who is it?
I'm going with Oklahoma. Really good guards. They hit shots, and I just think their starting 5 is really, really, really impressive.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the audience today?
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about Big Jay Gibson and what his role may be next year?
Oh, Jay, he can really shoot it. He's a big body, and he's really, really competitive. Like, just the guy that he can't stand to lose. Like, he'll play him in a video game, and he'll get sort of. You don't want to beat him, because that's how mad he gets if he loses. But it's just something that's really needed. You really need it on the team. Just someone that will do anything to win the game. So he's going to be a huge asset next year, I think.
Any other questions from the audience?
How do you think Junior's role plays as a junior next year?
That 3-time start. That'll be his 3rd year starting.
Yeah, he's gonna take a step up because I mean we're losing some scoring, and we feel like he's a really good player. So I mean, we just have to make sure that we take that next step. Everyone included, like everyone's a team. So it's going to be a year for him.
All right. Well, I think we covered pretty much everything today. We'll be back on Friday, so tune in and watch. And
one last question there at the end. Nathan Connor is asking what your thoughts are on Calvin Johnson retiring from the NFL officially.
That's, I mean, maybe a little Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, the greats that want to retire on the top. All power to him. He has $100 million going off right in the sunset. Not injured. You gotta tip your cap to him and just give condolences for him. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I mean, you see it more and more now in the NFL. Guys are more worried about their health because when you get the CTE stuff, it's pretty scary for these guys. So, I mean, he had a great career. He could still contribute. That's 100%. I know that for 100%. But these guys just say congratulations. You had a great career.
All right. Well, tune back in on Friday, and we'll talk at 10:30. See you then.